Hi, I'm David Wright, and today I'm interviewing Duncan Ponter, who's moved to Spain a couple of years ago, and he's loving life here. And he's going to talk to us a little bit today. We're going to have a little bit of a chit chat. He's originally from Scotland and been here 2 years. Duncan, is that right?
Yeah, 2 years. 2 years next month, David. Yeah, we made the move.
Yeah, I saw your video the other day you uploaded, and it really inspired me. I love videos like that because it's like on Facebook, everyone's saying, oh, since Brexit, you can't move to Spain, it's difficult, you can't find work, all these obstacles that people put in front of it. But really, they're the ones that don't really want to move there. Because if you really want to move there, you'll find a way and you'll do it. And as we're talking about motorbikes, I wanted to do a motorbike test and it took me a long time. I did it, I found a way around it. And I just did it. So you've been here 2 years. What visa did you get? How did you move here? Tell us a little bit about that.
So my wife and I, we came here on the non-lucrative visa, the NLV.
Yeah.
Really, because it's one that suited us best, David. We, like most people, we both worked, but when COVID struck, I was self-employed, and overnight all my business was switched off. I wasn't allowed to do anything, go anywhere, and I had no income effectively for 9 months. And it really made me sit and think about life. About is this the future? Is my future going to be determined by other people's actions? Is that the way I'm going to have to live the rest of my life?
Exactly.
It kind of struck a chord with me that now we have to do something different. And I'd spent the last 15 years being a consultant in the motor trade, so teaching people how to sell things and teaching service advisors how to look after customers and all about goal setting and making things happen. And I thought, you really want to practice what you preach and sit back and have a good think about it. So we decided that instead of being one day that we might have a little holiday home in Spain, we should go out and look at it and make it happen. So we started looking at various websites, as you do, and we were avid viewers of A Place in the Sun, like everyone is. And I had clicked on their website, just a link that I'd looked, and a couple of days later I got an email saying they were doing the exhibition in Birmingham, the Place in the Sun exhibition. So I'd said to my wife, why don't we go for the weekend? We'll do a bit of shopping, have a night out, and we'll go and see what's happening. And I went down there, David, with a plan, and I think that's the key thing for me is you have to actually sit down and plan what it is you're going to do. You can't just hope that it's going to happen. Hope's not a strategy. Lots of people hope one day. So we sat and we planned, and we went down and had a chat with all the people, and we came out and I said to her, we can do this. Why are we waiting until retirement age? We could actually, if we start the ball rolling and planning things now, we can go. And that really lit the fire under us. And we decided then, right, let's look into the visa options. The golden visa just is not feasible for most ordinary folk. Having to buy a property at €500,000, most ordinary people just can never do that. So that's out the window. Trying to get a working visa didn't really suit me because I didn't really want to work anymore. I was 62 years old and I thought, right, I've done my bit now. I want to just enjoy the sunshine and the weather and the lifestyle. So the non-lucrative visa was the one for us, and I looked into it and thought, right, let's make it happen. So that's how we got here.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you've been following over on my private members site, and I posted it in the group a few times. Andy, one of my members, he's came out same as you a couple of years, a year ago, on a non-lucrative visa, bought a house here, but he wants to work. He's a bit younger than us, and he's just changed his visa. He's got an amendment to it, and he's set up as a painter and paint spraying houses now. He's got a van and everything, and he's really pleased, and to work in the sunshine every day, you can't get over it, even now in December with the weather. It's a little bit colder here the last few days, but it's still beautiful sunshine, and
absolutely. And I think that's a really, really relevant point, David. That I don't think people are fully aware of that ability to switch at the end of the first year to a working visa, because it wasn't something I was aware of, and I thought I'd done all my research properly. But when you look at that, then it really opens it up to a lot of people to be able to come on a non-lucrative visa for a year and then switch and just whatever it is that they did in the UK, or something new, or whatever. At least there's an option there to now, as you say, work in a much better environment, better lifestyle, better food, better weather. So it's not all about retirement. Coming to Spain is not just for old people who want to go and sit in the sunshine and sleep in a lounger for the rest of their life. It's about people who really want to improve their life, I think. And it's that I think more people need to look into that they can do.
Yeah, even now I did a video 2 years ago. It's more than 2 years ago now, with the British Consulate of Almeria, when this amendment came out, and he told me about the changes that you will be able to change after 1 year. And I had solicitors telling me that I was wrong and that he was wrong and this is not correct. And even up until a few weeks ago, people still say to me, you can't change it, you can't work in Spain. But I interviewed Andy the other week, who's been through it. So he's a case study. He's been through the visa and the non-lucrative visa. He's applied for it. He's got the amendment, and he's actually working. He started work just over a couple of weeks ago now. So it does work here, and you do need to have the right people, the right experts to help advise you. But there's always a solution to problems, and then people say, well, I can't afford the money to come over. Anyone can afford it. If you haven't got the money, the savings, you can do what I did in the UK and sell some crap that you don't use, and downsize and sell those extra stuff that you've got in a garage. And years ago, when I moved here 23 years ago now, there wasn't the help there is now. There wasn't Facebook groups or the experts. I had to do what I did. I went to one of these shows at a hotel, and I got information, and then I physically got on a plane and came out here and see what it was like and speak to other expats out here. What did you do and how much do you need? And although the requirements then, I think it was 5,500 you needed in a bank, it was a lot easier. But it was a lot easier financially that way. But I didn't have any help. I didn't know anybody. I had to come and rent a place and look for work and find out. And I paid over the top to pay for help. When I was here, I paid people to help me. So I spent a lot of money that way. But if you really want it, you can do it. And I always say to people say, when I'm older, when I'm retired, don't wait. If you really want to do it now. Why wait? You can work here. And look, life is short, and the older you get, the more you realise that. And I think almost everybody I speak to that's moved here, that's been here for more than a couple of years, they all say, I wish I'd done it earlier. I wish I'd done it earlier. They're not always in a position to do it, but they wish they could have done it earlier. And I know I wish I had done it earlier for sure.
Yeah, and there's two big things that I think that people probably don't consider that they maybe should as well, David, if it's worth mentioning it. Britain's a very diverse country now. There's people living there from all different nations. And it's not just this generation, it's a previous generation and the one before that. So there's lots of people that don't even probably realise that they might have a German granddad or an Italian grandmother, and they can apply for, those citizenship through that. And the minute they get that EU passport, like all the people from Ireland do, everyone's a little bit Irish when it comes to getting a passport. But the same thing applies all over Europe. So all of a sudden, they may well have the ability to just come here with next to no money like you were able to before, because they're still part of the EU. So I think too many people don't look into that family tree part. They say, have I got an ancestor? And only as far back as your grandparents, that's the key thing. You can't go any further back than that. So if you've got a granddad or grandmum from Europe, or a mother or father from Europe, then it's really easy to get the passport from that country. And the second,
I've interviewed a few that have done that, the Irish passport. So yeah, it's a bit of paperwork involved and some time out there, but it's possible, But I get people say to me, "Oh, I can't." There's always excuses, and really, there's only two excuses that stick that will make it difficult or impossible, and that is health reasons. If you can't move here for some sort of health reasons. But there is another side to that as well. If you're ill in the UK, you can be ill in Spain. They've got a good health system here. It's just that sometimes getting the requirements to move here, depending on the illness you've got, you might not, be finding move here. or might not want to. But and the other thing as well is criminal record. I've come across this a couple of times. People have got even a small criminal record from years ago. That is a no-no. They're extremely hot on that. You have to wait until that time passes, or think of other options. But you can still come here for 90-day holidays, but you can't come here and live. That is the only two real reasons. Most people's reason is, I haven't got the money. Well, you can get the money. If you wanted to buy a new car, want to buy a new house, you find the money somehow. And people do it in life all the time. Yeah. So, you can. And I know a guy that's sold up his house and he bought a 1-bedroom apartment, lived in it for 2 years, where they saved every penny to move out here, and he did it that way. So there's always ways if you really want it enough.
It's always, when I used to work with sort of sales teams and trying to get them to achieve targets, David, it was the same thing. We'd use one of the things in training they use is called the GROW model. I'm sure you've heard of it. You heard of this? The GROW model. So it's a really, really easy thing for people to do if they want to make a change in their life or their circumstances or their job or their house, or it doesn't matter what it is. But if you take the letters GROW, GROW, the G is goal. What is it you want to achieve? Right? So you write that down. This is what I want. R is reality. Where am I now? And what's the gap between those two? The O is what are my options? What can I do to make it happen now? Now I know what I want and where I am and what the gap is. How am I going to make it happen? What are the options? And W is the way forward. How am I going to move forward from this? And see, by simply writing that down on a piece of paper, it's almost gets, if you really want to do it, it starts to fire you up. But if you're only dreaming about it or thinking about it, or you're sitting at the end of the bar on a Friday night, your mate saying, "Oh, it must be great to go and live in Spain. I wish I could." You're never going to do it.
I used to do a lot of internet marketing years ago, and I went to a course in Miami. I paid a lot of money for a week's training course in Miami, and on the course there, it was all run by very wealthy people, successful business people, and the guy that was running the course was a millionaire, and he'd just come back from the French Polynesia, Bora Bora. He hired a log cabin in the water, $1,000 a night, and I thought, that's crazy. That's crazy. You would pay $1,000 a night to stay out there, in the middle of nowhere. It looked fantastic, the videos. And when I come back from the course, I wrote down similar what you said about the goals, and he always said, when you want something as a dream, write it down and write what are the options, how can you get there, what do you need to do to get to there, and put a time scale on it, and then just work at it each day, chip away at it. And years later, and it was years later, I was here in Spain, and I was married to my new Spanish wife, and we talked about this dream and everything, and we were planning on going on the holiday. And I said, well, if we don't go on holiday this year, we could really splash out and save hard, and we could go next year to Bora Bora. And she said, oh, that's crazy, paying to go out there. It was going to cost us about 18,000 euros for this 2-week holiday with the flights and everything. And we did it. We went out there and we paid. We only went for 3 nights in the log cabin because it's 1,000 a night. But we did it. And the way I did it was I wrote a list of what I needed and the steps to get there. Now, this is the same with Spain. I say to people, when you're moving to Spain, first thing you need to do is, people say, oh, I wish I could do that. And I always say, why can't you? At the moment, it's just a wish. Once you write it down, it becomes real. It's something you can touch, So I got a book, a little notebook, and I wrote down, moving to Spain, write down. And then you want to write those things down. What do I need? How much does it cost? And just the more you think, like, for example, if you don't know how much it costs to move to Spain for the visa, then you start researching that visa. Then then you can write it on your list. Right, now I know how much the visa is. How do I get the visa? You need to go to a lawyer. You need to go to a visa expert. What, where, who? And you start researching. And obstacles start to drop away in front of you.
Absolutely.
Once you make a list and break it down. So, making a list is for what, and I did the same when I wanted my motorbike. I've got a lot of expenses on my house here, and taking the exam for the motorbike in Spanish was difficult. And then I knew that when I passed, I didn't have enough money to buy the bike. So originally I was going to get it on finance, but I didn't like their finance terms over 10 years, paying half as much again for the bike. So I took on some extra jobs basically, and I worked 7 days a week for a couple of months while I was still training to do the motorbike test. And I bought the bike with cash. I went to the shop, and that was a problem as well, because in Spain you're not allowed to spend more than, I think it's 1,000 or 1,500 euros in cash. They don't like you paying cash, and I had let's say a negotiation with the manager of the shop, and we found a way around it. And so I bought the bike in cash. So there's always solutions, but you need to write these lists down. So I like to help and encourage people, and when people say it's impossible, I wish I could do it, or I can't do it. Every week I see people like you that have done it, normal people from normal backgrounds that are just really had that little bit of a push because they got to a stage where they're fed up, or let's go for it, let's do it. Life is short, and they do it. So if these people can do it, anyone can do it, So
absolutely, it's just for me, it was just about getting my head clear, David, about what I really wanted in life. Instead of I think it's too easy just to fall into that almost Groundhog Day of repeating the same week every week, and then moaning about it because the weekend's only 2 days and then I have to go back on Monday again. It's too easy for people to fall into that habit, and it's taking that time. Stop watching the telly one night for 2 hours. Just go and sit in the room with a bit of paper and your computer and do a bit of research. Put down what is it you really want and make it happen. There are people sitting in, you look at the prices of houses in the UK and how much they go up every single year. There are people sitting, I know people sitting in houses worth, £300,000-400,000, and there's only 2 of them left. They've got 4 bedrooms and they've no kids. And you think, well, sell the bloody thing and buy yourself a nice little bungalow for 200. All of a sudden you've got 200 grand to play with. Or older people that are sitting in a house that's bought and paid for, and they're trying to scrape by on a state pension, and they're just going to leave it all to their kids. So there's lots of ways you can get around it that people I think just need to open their mind a little bit and make it happen.
So Duncan, where have you moved to in Spain?
So we've moved to Senorio de Roda. So Roda village is just outside Los Alcázares. We're literally 20 minutes walk from Los Alcázares and 10 minutes on a bicycle from our house to the beach. It's a great little village. Sorry, David?
Your nearest airport. To you?
So the nearest airport to us is Murcia. So it's about 35 minutes from our house to the airport, Murcia Airport. Now, the downside of that is they don't really fly to Scotland very well over the winter months. It's only during sort of March till October. But even Alicante's only an hour away. It's no big deal.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm near Almeria Airport, so you're a couple of hours, about 2 hours and 20 minutes from me, airport to airport area. So to give people an idea, but the weather's, the temperature's dropped the last few days here. But yesterday I was out on the bike and I think it was 20 degrees down on the beachfront. The air's cooler, but midday 20 degrees. I couldn't believe it. You could sit on the beach. Well, there were people sitting on the beach sunbathing, stripped off. Incredible. That's Christmas in Spain.
Because I think that's the thing. We look at the temperatures here, and okay, this time of the year overnight it does get down. I think we get down to 9 degrees last night overnight. But you're in bed, you're sleeping. It doesn't matter how cold it gets during the night. And then when you get up in the morning, as soon as that sun comes up, the temperature just flies up really quickly. So you're always going to have a few hours where it's fantastic. Apart from the odd time, obviously, when it's wind and rain, but it's really, really rare to have that. We most days we can be out and about by sort of 11:30, and then it's beautiful right up till maybe 4:30. So you get 5 hours every day to go out and do something.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons for moving to Spain years ago was I had plenty of hobbies. I used to go fishing at the weekends, and I was into paragliding and mountain climbing. And in the UK, you work all week, come the weekend, it's windy and rain for Saturday and Sunday. So what do? You sit in front of the telly, eating crap, watching crap on the TV, and then come Monday, we're back to work again. You think this is no life, working all the hours to sit indoors at the weekend. So I just got really fed up with that. And that
it's just an existence.
Yeah. So Duncan, you're not working. You're retired. Have you got some hobbies? How do you keep yourself busy?
So we play paddle tennis once or twice a week with friends of ours. So we go and do that for an hour and a half, which is smashing again in the weather. We do a lot of cycling here, David, that we never ever did in Scotland because it's too hilly, it's too cold, it's too wet. The traffic's not looking out for cyclists in the UK, whereas here, there's a lot of cyclists. And the drivers are aware of them, they give them a bit of space, the weather's great and it's flat. We can cycle for miles here and the elevation doesn't change by 50 metres. So we do a lot of cycling. We often just go for a wander along the beachfront. We've got a lovely 5-kilometre promenade right along the front of Los Alcázares with a dozen, maybe 15 little places to drop in for a coffee or a beer or whatever. We just wander. There's a couple of little marinas to wander around. We just sit and, people watch the world go by, put the world to rights. I do, obviously, as you know, I ride my motorcycle a lot. I'm out on that, and I literally just jump on it and head out where we live. We no plan, just see where the road takes me, and just go exploring. And it always ends up back at the right place. You can't get lost on a motorcycle. You just take longer than you thought you were going to take to get home. That's the way I always looked at it. I've just recently started doing some videos on YouTube. It's just it's something that helps pass some time. But I think the thing for me, David, is it's the total time freedom to do whatever I want to do, and not having to rely on working to schedules and deadlines and timescales and. If we want to go up one day and do that, guess what? That's what we do. We do nothing. If we want to go up and do lots, we do lots. I like taking photographs, so I do a bit of photography, do a little bit of doodling. I used to do a lot of drawing when I was young, so I do that. But there's plenty, and that's before you even start looking at any of the organised things like, gym memberships or clubs or all these other things. But we could be out all day, every day, if we wanted to, but we just pick and choose when we like without any sort of real guidelines. We just take it as it comes.
Yeah, and people say it's not all about the weather.
Yeah.
And the people that don't live in Spain say that.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, here, obviously it's not all the weather. I mean, but for me as well, the diet, the way of life, as you described, the more laid back and family orientated, way of life. It's just. We went to some friend's house the other day for evening dinner, and their neighbours just turned up and joined us, and it was just about 12 of us in the end sat around the table having something to eat, and everyone brought something along, bring a bottle and some food and stuff, and it's just a different way of life here. It really is a more of a laid back and more family orientated, I think. Here they include the kids a lot more than they do in the UK.
Absolutely. We have a little community bar less than 5 minutes walk from where we live, and it's a little Spanish bar. It's run by Spanish people. It's very popular with all the Spanish, and when you go there, mainly maybe on a Friday, Saturday and a Sunday evening, David, about 10 o'clock, there will be 30 people at one big table, all families, 3 generations of a family all together. There'll be groups of neighbours we have in the houses we have. They're modest little 2-bed townhouses. They're nothing fantastic, but it's perfect for our needs. And they have a shared back courtyard. And on a summer's night, if people just come out, sit out at the back, and as you say, people just bring a bottle of wine. Someone will bring some snacks, and we have Scottish, English, Irish, Spanish, French, Belgians, Dutch, all who just mix together and just get on with life and talk about how good it is living in Spain. So the social side, and the family side is much, much better here as well.
Sure. Yeah, years ago, I was living here, not been here many years, and I went to a village here near the beach, a famous village near the beach, and they got a village square, which is literally right on the edge of the beach.
Yeah.
And there was a big table with about 20 or 30 people, all Spanish, sitting there having a meal together. And I walked past, and I said, I was married before, and I said to my first wife, look at those people there. That's what the life I would like to have here. You know, all sitting there, relaxed, having a meal together, all the family together, about 20 people. And I was really envious of that, you know. And anyway, years later, I'm married to my new Spanish wife now. We went to this village, and we were invited with some other people there, and we had a big table in the same square, and we all sat there. And I remember sitting at the table, and I watched a couple come by, an English couple with a baby in a pram, and I heard her say, look at those Spanish people, that looks nice. And I thought, I remembered years ago, that was me. I was there, I said that, and now I'm here doing it, you know. And that was something really, I felt great about that. But yeah, it is I think it is a really lovely lifestyle here. And you know, people will say I'm always bashing the UK. I'm not bashing the UK. I love the UK. I love visiting. You know, I've been to Scotland a few times up in Inverness, and I love it up there. I'm not keen on the cold and the snow, but you know, it's great up there to see the different the way of life up there, and visit family and friends down in Brighton. But I just don't want to live that life anymore. I don't want to live in that environment. You know, you're working all the hours, or at least I was working all the hours to pay the bills for a house and a car that you can only use to get to work and back. You know, so. I gave all that up and moved here, and it was a struggle for the first few years working here. You know, I struggled at times, and I've had the ups and downs here more than most, really. You know, but I'd rather be here in the crisis, or rather be ill here. I mean, I've been ill. I've had operations here, and the care is brilliant. The health system's fantastic. The people are friendly. So you know, this is where I want to be now. And Duncan, what would you say to people that in the UK that are thinking about it, and they might be doing it in a few years' time or whatever? Would you say they should go for it now, or what encouragement would you give them?
It all depends on each person's individual circumstances, David. And I think, you know, that's the thing that above all else that I've realised about when we moved to Spain. The timing was perfect for us. You know, a few events had happened in our life, like in most people's lives. Both my parents had passed away many, many years ago, so they weren't in the picture. But my wife, Trisha's parents, they both passed away within 2 years of each other, very recently, just before we came. Our kids had grown up and moved away. They don't have any plans to have any grandkids. So, you know, for us, it was almost like if we don't do it now, we probably will never do it. You know, no parents to worry about now. The kids have got their own lives. It's fine. And it was a tough wrench leaving, you know, brothers and sisters and good friends that you'd known for a long, long time. But we knew it was the right time for us. So the advice I would give anybody is you have got to have it in your head that this is something that you really want to see through. It has to move from being a dream to a goal. It has to be something that it's almost like, in my mind, it started to eat me up almost every minute of every day. I was thinking about moving to Spain. How can I make it work? This was the key driver in my life now. All the other stuff was second to that. And there was something that I think is a really good strategy for people. And again, you might have heard of it, David, is if you want to move to Spain, you've got to satisfy 5 whys, it's called. You've got to ask yourself 5 times why. See if you can't get to 5 good reasons why. You'll never do it.
Yeah.
I'd like to move to Spain because I've heard it's great there. Well, why? Well, a friend of mine went on holiday there and they said it was brilliant, so I'd like to do it. But why? If you can't answer that, you will never make it happen.
Yeah.
So, you know, apply the 5 whys. And if you get to 5 good reasons why, then just make it happen. And do it as soon as you can. Don't wait.
I had years ago on this training thing I did in Miami, the guy said to me, your thoughts become feelings, and then your feelings become actions, and your actions get results.
Yeah.
So if you think about something and keep thinking about it, like you say, you go to bed at night, you're thinking about moving to Spain, those thoughts become feelings, and that drums you up inside to start taking action, making lists and researching, and those actions start to get you the result. So it's manifesting your dreams, really, and that's how you can manifest anything. Anything is possible if you can dream it. You can make it come true. Pretty much anything. So I
think it was Walt Disney that said a goal is just a dream with a deadline.
Yeah.
I think Walt Disney said something like that. So as soon as you see it earlier, if you put a time on it and say, right, when am I going to make it happen, and work backwards, give yourself a reasonable amount of time and work backwards, you'll get there.
Yeah, and the time so quickly, because I remember when I was training for the motorbike thing and things I've done, and you think, it's going to take me years. Well, the time goes anyway, so you might as well get started now, and start ticking off. I mean, as you probably know, I bought a plot of land there and decided to build a house. And it's like, who does that? Who buys and build it myself, not getting people in to do it. I did it. And I put down a time scale. Well, the bank put down a time scale of 2 years, because that was the mortgage for 2 years to get the house livable. And, I had some building experience in my background, and a carpenter and builder by trade. So I thought I knew what I was doing, but it wasn't until I got into it I thought, oh my God, 2 years, that's not enough, But those 2 years fly past, especially when you're working 7 days a week, And it's amazing what you can do. And at the end of it, now I've got my dream house here in Spain. So anything is possible. I always say to people, if it's something you really want to do, follow other people that have done it, like you said about the visa that you've done, tag along with people like Duncan, find what he's done, research what they did, and do what they got to do. To have what other people have, you have to do what other people do, and follow in their footsteps. And it's like, there's another saying as well. If you look to the end of the road, you see the end of the road. But if you walk to the end of the road, you see the beginning of the motorway. And basically that means that, you can see the distance, a dream, but once you start taking action on it, other things open up for you, other avenues and doors open of opportunity. And just taking that first step sometimes is the difficult one for most people. But get started, and like you're enjoying your life in Spain now.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I would add, David, is worth thinking about as well, is that social media is great for lots of things. It's allowed people to reconnect with old friends and family, and get together with old workmates and be able to sort of talk to each other. But the downside of it is that it's given total strangers a platform to be able to comment on your life. People you've never met, don't even know, they're 10 degrees of separation away, and you'll never meet in your life. But these people think it's perfectly okay to jump in your conversation, interrupt it, and just say what they feel, and it's usually negative. Now, the reality is, no one would ever do that in real life. You'd never walk up to two strangers who are having a chat in a restaurant and walk up and say, I think you're wrong. I think you should do this, you should do that. But these keyboard warriors, as they're called, will sit there and key away, and that can get to people. And one of the videos I put on the other night about us on YouTube about us leaving the UK, there's a comment from a guy, and it just said, when we're talking about how we started our journey and how we left the UK for a better life in Spain, and all he typed in the comments is, "Don't worry, you won't be missed." And I thought, what is that guy ever going to achieve in his life if that's all he does is sit and type in random comments? So what I would say to people is don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to these total strangers that want to pour water on your dreams. Only go by, as you say, people that you can talk to, people that you can get a proper referral to, have a chat with who've done it. Don't listen to people who haven't.
Yeah, I mean, on my 3 Facebook websites, I've got over 70,000 followers, and obviously I can't please everyone, and I upset a few people at times. That's part and parcel of it. But several times I've thought about closing down the Facebook group because of the I've had some really nasty comments and personally attacking me in private messages and things like that. I've even had people come on my radio show. They found out I've got a radio show and comment, in the comment section, negative stuff. But that just tells me a lot about them, and people don't like to see other people succeed. But the thing is, successful people help other people succeed,
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
If they're happy with their life, they help and encourage others. It's the ones that aren't happy with their life that try and tear down other people, so that bring them down to their level,
Yeah.
So when people comment negative things on your thing, like, you won't be missed, that's like, he's obviously feeling upset because he's not happy with his life. If he was happy, he wouldn't think about something like that.
Absolutely. And I always throw them a curveball, David. I always thank them for their input and ask them, how can I improve? And they never answer that. They can't. They'd rather just put these derogatory comments because they can't answer it. Because if they could answer it, they would fix their own life and not worry about mine.
Yeah, I think it's very. I have to bite my tongue sometimes and not reply. I often do, and it upsets a few. But I'm past caring in a way. But the best way to deal with it is just to move on. And quite often, I've deleted some of these people that they're entitled to their opinion and their comments. But some people put some quite negative stuff sometimes. If I see it once, I might let it go. But if I see it a couple of times in a group, I just delete them. And then, people say to me, you've deleted me from the group. You're a control freak. And I always answer, yes, you're right. I am a control freak.
Yeah.
I control the negative people in my life. I don't want me or my members to be around them because that just drains you. So, and it's
you're right.
Facebook. It's not the end of the world, But I think it's a great platform to help encourage others if they want it. But not everyone wants to. But on the other hand, if you're not interested in moving to Spain and you're not happy about it, then you shouldn't be in a group that's dedicated to helping people move to Spain. So,
absolutely, yeah. That, when I've read some of the comments in your group, that's exactly what I think. Why are you on this page? Why are you part of this group if that's the way you think? Is it just somebody else that wants to have another platform to type away? But you quickly deal with them, which is always good. So continue to do that.
Well, thanks very much for talking to me today, Duncan. And we'll have to meet up soon one day. You're not that far away from me, and we'll have to maybe meet halfway or something and have a few
we could do absolutely a halfway meet and grab some tapas and a blether. That would be good.
Yeah. How far are you? Well, do you know Mahaka?
I know Mahaka. Yeah, I love Mahaka. It's a lovely place. Yeah.
How far is that from you?
It's about probably an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and a half.
Just about an hour and 15 for me. So it's
so there you go. Mahaka sounds like the place.
I was on my bike a little while ago. Actually, went to see some other members on the group. Have a chat with him. When I first got the bike, it was one of the first runs I had actually up there. So had some tappers on the beach.
Right, yeah. Well, listen, thanks for your time, David, and always happy to chat. And we'll definitely organise something for a meet-up one day.
We'll do. All the best. And thanks for your time today.